Hello and welcome to the War YouTube channel. Joined with me today is Langoh.
Hello.
Today we will be looking at a battle in 0.96, which is the latest patch, and this is a brand new map actually. This is Frozen Lakebed, and it's going to be a favourite, I think. It's like a new version of grassy plains and dry lakebed. It's just a bog standard field, but you know, bit of changing scenery is always nice, I think. Okay, so I think without further ado, I'm just going to kickstart this army composition. It's a 3v3 battle today. On one side we have Langoh, DF Thorn, and Second Pink, and that's going to be Lothlorien, Gondor, and Mordor as well. And on the other side we have Eclipse, who's going to be playing Imladris. We have CF Josh, who is going to be playing Dale, and on the far right hand side flank we have the Realm of Linden, played by Dictar. Okay. So, on the far right hand side flank for Lango's army, we have the Sylvan Rangers. These are quite a nice unit actually, and you can see that they're hidden in the grass as well. We have the Lothlorien Mounted Company, which are a very good cavalry unit, Lancer Cav. I believe they have a charge of 15, is that right, Lango?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They definitely have like
they
15.
they pack a punch. We at the back of the line we have some Sindar Bladesmen, and these are going to provide some AP for Lango's army composition. We have some Sylvan Staff Masters, which are on the cheaper side of the units that Lothlorien can sort of
Second
field.
cheapest, I think,
But
actually.
but you're still looking at 600 plus, I believe,
Yeah.
for these guys. So even though they are the worst unit they can pretty much bring, they're still going to pack a punch. We have some Lothlorien axes as well. These are my favourite unit. I just like the balaclavas. I think they look super cool. Yeah, why not? Bring them. We have some Sylvan Spears as well, and these are going to just sort of form the front line. There's two units there, and we've started 3,000 frames in, so these Lothlorien archers that were nicely set up in the front line are going to push forward to start harassing Imladris, and we have the Edel Tirith as well. So these are the cheaper ones, the cheaper archer units that did actually have body piercing. That has now been taken off in this patch.
Thank
So that
God.
thank God, because being able to field 3 units of very cheap ranger units was OP. Okay, so we've kind of skipped over some of the middle here. Lango has opted to bring a ballista as well. Hopefully he will get as much use as the ballista in the previous video that we recorded together.
Possibly.
Possibly, we shall see. Nice symmetrical line as well going on here. And then we have another unit of Lothlorien Mounted Company, and finally some Galadhrim Rangers. There we
Glad
go.
Rim Virus.
Yeah, sorry, my pronunciation is not on par today. And then we have the general unit as well in there. Zooming across to Gondor Thorn, we have some Pinnith Galen Cav, formerly known as Green Cav. These guys they do pack a punch, and yeah, it's nice to see their name instead of unlocalized placement text. We have some Gondor Spearmen on the right hand flank, some Citadel Guard. These guys look very nice. Quite small shields though, but still very nice.
They will survive everything. Still
Pretty
with that shield.
pretty much. So we've just scouted down this way, so we're going to go across the line before we go onto the main line, and this is just going to be some Ramesek or Garrison archers. Behind Thorn does back up his line with some veterans of Osgiliath, some high tier bowmen, and then Citadel Guard again on the left hand side flank, and some Lothlian honor guard as
Don't
well.
look at me here.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. These are all news. I believe these are just the old shielded Phantom Guard unit.
Yeah, it's definitely just the same.
Yeah, and some Gondor infantry to form the middle of his line. To support that, we have some Kar Andros Swordsman, which is going to provide the AP for Gondor's army. And that's just going to be supporting the Gondor infantry as well, with some Pelegrar Marines and some Elisar's Vanguard. Very, very, very good unit as well. And I believe that's Aragorn as well. Okay. And then Gandalf retinue bodyguard in the background, looking very dazzling in white, I must say. It's always good to see Gandalf and some of these characters from the movies making an appearance into the game. It makes the role play a little bit more entertaining, I think. Now, we move on to Second Pink's army, and I'm a huge Mordor fan. I do like the new sigil. I believe WK has done all of the new faction sigils, and they all look pretty cool. So shout out to him and his graphic design work. We have some Orc archers in the front line, and I believe this is 2 units spread out quite thin, maybe 3. We also have the ballista, so that's 2 pieces of artillery for Langoh and his allies, and forming up the main line of his battle line really is going to be 3 units of Morannon infantry. These guys have had a visual upgrade. They now look like they did when they had the armor upgrade in the old versions. And let's face it, they needed them. They used to look like they were wearing skirts, and these guys look so much better. And then just to back up, we have some Morannon halberds as well. He has chosen to go for the Nazgul, which is a very curious sort of choice. These guys are very, very high in cost. You don't see them often. You more see them in sieges where they can kind of be protected. It's very, very risky to take them in a pitched battle.
Especially against elves.
Especially against elves as well. We do have the Temple Guard missiles. These guys look sick, and these are just going to supply some high tier archer support for some of the lower tier front line of Orc archers. We do of course have the Troll drummers as well. These guys are a must, but you know they are so slow, so swings and roundabouts. We do have some mountain trolls as well, so these are going to be helpful in breaking through the lines. And we have the new unit models for the Olokai. These guys look sick from the front, absolutely really cool. I like the... Oh, that's a little bit too close for my liking.
That's nice.
But yeah, no, this is a good angle. There we go. You wouldn't wanna meet them. And look at those perky cheeks. Oi. And that's pretty much it. He does have 1 unit of Melkor's chosen as well, and that is actually not his general unit. I believe his general must therefore either be in the Temple Guard or the Nazgul. I assume it's going to be the Nazgul. Okay.
You can definitely see the reason why he wouldn't pick up the Melkor's chosen, considering he's facing elves. Something like this that doesn't have a shield, they will get kind of attrition down, and they will probably die sooner or later.
Yeah.
Even how good they are. So it's just about dealing the correct amount of damage with them before they die.
Pretty much. I mean, he is going to have to use these Melkor's chosen quite well. His one saving grace is the fact that he has only 1 unit of cav. So even if you're bad at micro, then you're still going to do all right if you only have 1 unit to manage. Sure, there are others, but you know it's slightly different when you have 6 or 7 units of cav. The micro becomes very hard. But I'm just going to pass it on to Langoh now, who's going to start off by doing the Realm of Linden, and he's going to work his way back along the battle line, and then we'll kickstart this battle for you.
Yeah, and I think we'll just start on the cavalry and go on the backside first.
Okay.
So we have 2 Wards of Linen missile cavalry, and they are quite scary to deal with, especially for someone like Mordor that don't really have an answer to shoot back, neither in like their normal units and in their cavalry. So that's a very wise choice in my opinion to go with.
It's also super annoying to play against as well. Missile cavalry is, it's just a pain. Yeah. Okay.
If you can't deal with it, but yeah, and then we'll have on the follow up 3 Harlan and infantry in loose formation. Quite paranoid to have everything loose formation starts, but But yeah, it
Not
works. It
not
works.
not necessarily a bad call as well, and
Definitely not.
especially if you, I mean, this is the case, but if you're playing against Gondor or some of the human factions, then if you get caught off guard and you've clumped your army together and they've brought a trebuchet, you can get punished for it really heavily, and
Oh
quite
yeah,
often or not, those first shots, they can take out some high tier units. So this is
that was proven last time.
good practice because no matter how close you start to your battle line, you'll always be able to get them back in formation before the enemy gets to you if all you're doing is clicking to
Exactly.
close. So it's really good practice to do this. But
It is. And
it is a little bit paranoid.
it is. But then again, if you just go forward a little bit, he has already actually been hit by the ballista.
Oh yes, so he has.
Yeah.
So,
So even if we complain about the paranoia, it's already proven vital.
and you got one, two, three, four, five, like 6 kills while they're in loose. So
Yeah.
Ballista has
The
the ability to
Mortis
chew.
ballista has an Ares that's very dangerous,
Yeah.
but they make it up with low ammo and less accuracy. I'm
Yeah.
fairly sure about.
Yes, and also it's got a really, really high versus building damage as well. So it's a little bit more versatile than the fact in the siege where you can knock down a wall using only a little bit of ammo, and then you still have some to clear out choke points. So it's a versatile piece of artillery to take.
Yeah, and then we'll have like on the backlines, Noldorian Guard followed with Niflon Swordmasters, the Noldorian Blade Masters. Considering that Mordor doesn't have Inquisitors, the Blade Master is going to be a real nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, this
And
is
then
a
we can follow up with
prime
Swordmasters.
javelin target. The
Oh yeah, if he manage,
if he
if you
manages.
manage. Then we'll have 2 more Swordsmasters, so very high damage, low armor kind of things.
Well, that's Linden all
Especially,
over though, isn't it? High
it
damage,
is Lindon,
low armor.
but I see like he opted for the Swordmasters instead of the Noldorian Guards,
Mm.
which I usually don't because I feel like they are that light already. So the little extra armor that the Noldorian Guards and the Noldorian Guards are scary to deal with,
Yeah.
it really often pays off.
I mean, it's
But we'll see.
the guards are the highest armored unit for Linden, I believe. Potentially some of the cavalry, but I'm pretty sure that these guys are the toughest unit that they can bring, armor
Yeah,
wise and melee defense wise.
and they're probably the only thing that could really plug up our breaking line.
Mm.
But yeah, let's continue. You can see his general with his Noldorian Horse Lord.
You look an old man.
Indeed, he has seen a lot. He had definitely seen a lot. And then we can follow up on the main line. We have his archers, Howling Guards, Falling on Archers, Falling on Archers. So 2 Falling Archers and 1 Howling Guard. And right in front of it we have a pike line and some infantry.
Yeah, mixed
So
in.
he's really careful with his archers.
Yeah, this is a really good defensive position. Usually you see them start a little forward of the battle line just to get an aggressive start. But he's obviously aware that he's playing versus against Mordor. Mordor, notorious sort of rush faction. So he knows that he's fighting Mordor, and he has set up his
He's
army.
prepared for it.
And what this second battle line does, of these infantry and all of these blade masters and guards, is he can start plugging gaps as they
It's
appear.
his reserve, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah. I shout out to Dictar. He's set up his army quite well, and then the stakes as well. So if they do decide to fall back a little bit, then it kind of negates sort of any cav charges. Should these sort of pikemen bite the dust.
But then again, I feel like if you would have wanted to go for real details here, I feel like the stakes is often when you face against rush, it's a mistake. If you go against like Mortar, which has as Linden, where you can actually deal with the enemy cavalry quite easily, sadly enough, the stakes would probably be at your disadvantage because the front line would be probably being pushed behind them. So once you actually manage to deal with the said cavalry, because Linden's cavalry, especially their horse lords, are very scary. it will basically serve as protection for the attackers that charged, so you can't actually hammer and anvil them. And
Yeah.
I've felt that pain plenty of times.
See,
So it's
what I like to see is, and I see this more and more often actually, is actually setting up the stakes so it faces behind your line. That way you can hold your position and it kind of protects you from rear charges. One
exactly.
thing that's important to note, and I'm not sure everybody knows this, but if you deploy your stakes at the start of the match, everybody on the entire game can see where your
Can't
stakes
see them.
are. So if you are trying something sneaky, or you don't want to give away your position, or even if you want to bait, because I've seen some people throw out stakes on the far right with just one unit, and I've seen people on my allies sort of adjust where their army is starting based on that stake information, and then has been massively out of position at the start. So
Exactly.
there are important plays that you can make with stakes, and you shouldn't always necessarily deploy them. It's not necessarily a good thing. Um,
Yeah, I think maybe in this situation it was wrong,
mm.
but I could very much be wrong here. It's up to see.
We shall see. We shall see. Should we move on to
Oh yeah,
Dale's
I
arm?
think we stopped a bit too much on in on there.
Yeah,
So
we
we'll
did.
have on Dale, the Dale and Cavalry, always a good charge. They pack a punch, even if they're all a bit glassy in themselves.
Mm.
But definitely, the Cat Force I would always recommend to bring as Dale.
Bread and
They're
butter.
quick. Exactly. With them, we'll have in front of them some Dale and Marksmen. Very good. High damage. And then next to them, we'll have the Bard and Marksman. They can take a punch better, I'm quite sure about.
Yeah,
They
higher
cost a
armor.
little bit more,
Mm.
but they have higher armor, they have better shield. Even if it's on the back, it still counts.
Yeah, that's an important thing
We
to
have
know
some more
as well.
Bard and Marksman, and then here's an interesting one. The Morquendi bows in the end.
Yeah, these are a
Now,
nice looking unit.
they are deadly. They are a very deadly archer force, and the fact that it has them in the front line is kind of iffing. I wouldn't recommend it, especially not against the Gondor, which has one of the best marksmanship for human races.
Yeah.
The Morquendi bows are elves, so they're still supreme to whatever Gondor can bring,
Yes.
but they are not as survivable as the rest of the archer line.
Yeah.
So I would recommend to
This.
pull them backwards.
Yeah. This is an important. Well, it's more not important, but it's a cool point to note that these guys are Elvish archers,
Yeah,
and they're one of the few factions that actually bring other races. I think the Arthedain and Hobbits are one of the only other examples, but it's still pretty cool.
hobbits at arm.
Yeah, no, I love hobbits, man.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and then we'll have some more Morquendi. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
We'll go for it, man. We'll just we've said it now. Let's stick with it.
Yeah, we said it. It's over. And then we have the Lake Town infantry behind it. Several of them. Really to plug up, and they aren't going to stand up to anything Gondor will throw at them. But with the pikes, they will be able to like hold the line and let their poking do the real damage. We'll have after them. We'll have some Dalen Royal and Girion paladins.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would say that that's two quite scary elites.
Yeah. They're both double hit points. And the Dalian Royal Guard, I believe, had body piercing as well.
Oh no,
Oh, did they not?
no, they are just very high damage to HP.
Yeah. Okay. So they
It's
make
like
up for it. The tank archer, and then the
yeah,
Girion Paladins. They are obviously AP with those big ass two-handed maces.
yeah. And good for Gondor that he didn't bring up one level up on the Dalen Royal Guard Dragon Slayers, because they're one of the
Yes,
3 AP units archers. That would be scary.
that would be scary.
Yeah, we got some Earls of Esgaroth, and with that we'll just go to Eclipse and Imladris.
Okay.
Not much to say about that. With them we have in the back lines to just Imladris sentries. Very, very good pike lines. That's definitely going to be one of the main targets for me.
Yeah. Scary.
What Oh yeah.
Embrace
What else do we
position
have?
as well.
Oh yeah. And very far back, secure.
Mm.
It's good considering he's facing elves with long range to have them that far back, so you can just mobilize them as he needs to.
Yes, for sure. It's smart play.
We have them. Oh, gone.
No. I was just gonna say that it's quite a thin battle line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed. But we have the Noretir. I'm not gonna try. The cavalry.
Noratino, I think.
Noretino. Hey.
Yeah.
Cavalry.
Yep.
2 of them, and they're good. They don't stand up to archers that much, but they have they're glass cannon, I would say.
Yeah.
And against my cavalry, they are a little bit lower tier. So let's see if I can make that work.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
We shall see. We're all about to find out.
Indeed. And we have the Imladder's Guardians. Always good to have. They will hold the line, and they will hurt the enemy while doing it. And then we'll have some Imladder's Blade Masters. They did impress me this game, I must say. I actually didn't think them that highly until I saw what they managed to do. Ooh, a little bit of an hinders what is to come. And then after that we have the Eldarin Heruhattal.
We'll just call them the Elder Enway, man. Just call them the Elder Enway spears. Like,
the spearmen.
The spearmen. Yeah, the Elven Golden Boys. The Elven Golden Boys.
The Golden Boys, that's it. That's it. And then we have a very scary archer line.
It is, isn't it?
Sustaining off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 archer units. Given they are low tier, but still the pure quantity is going to be annoying to deal with.
Yeah, that's
and I think he's kind of went up for like an elite core, and then a lot of archers to bombard with as I approach.
Yeah, see, I've never seen this done before, but I've heard people on like Discord and things like that complaining that when you pick Elven factions, the classic counter is just to go numbers, and just beat their skill by sheer numbers. What he's done is he's gone for lots of low tier archers, but there's so many of them, and at the end of the day, they're still elves. They're still pretty damn good, so I'm going to be very, very curious as to how this plays out, but I think my observation is he's gone too heavy on archers, doesn't have enough cav. But we shall see how this plays out. Without further ado, I think I'm just going to hit play, and let's get this battle rolling.
As you can see first, I find myself a little bit annoying, outplaced, where he was a little bit pushed up to his front, so I had to readjust my archers. On the meantime, sadly my Lothlorien archers are going to go a little bit retarded and sally forth.
Yeah,
for some reason.
The archer sort of AI auto-pathing is very, very, very strange. Sometimes you have to turn off skirmish mode and things like that.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just gonna...
Just be observant, it will happen again, I promise. See? There it goes. No, actually, no, that's...
So I got distracted by the flaming ballista shots at the far side.
No, yeah. I think most action is going to happen around me and him in the start, because he's starting to push up to his ally to like really bunker themselves down with the supreme archer might. And I'm going to try and punish him for it, because I kind of see that he's left his archers unprotected.
Yes,
there's several of them.
That's yes, that's a questionable decision. So what you've done now is just looped around the stakes. He's going to answer you, but with his cavalry as well, and you do stake a few. Ooh, maybe not. Okay, so there are a few down to stakes. You do get a kind of counter charge, but the punishment, you killed quite a chunk, fair few archers. So I think that is actually worth it, even if you are going to get punished for it slightly. Yeah,
and on the meantime, his archers, I'm going to try. I'm buying time as well. My archer can pepper their archers down while their archers are moving around. And I'm getting some good shots of his cavalry as well on it.
Yeah.
But on the other side, we have another charge that was much more successful.
What, on the for
I
Gondorian Thorn or?
no, I just meant on mine, but we can see it while we're here.
Yes.
The dealing of Melkor Chosen and the Northern Host Lords. Oof. I would
And this is a general
not
unit as well.
recommend this.
No, the Melkor's chosen as a warg unit, and as also, like, I think it's effectively a knight unit as well. It now costs 1,500. Fortunately,
They're both knights.
yeah. So it's not. See, I think they're better versus cavalry, but I think in this case the archer support
The pure
offered
archers.
by Dictar was enough to sort of ensure
Sets
that the
that
Horse Lords came out on top. And we do have CF Josh charging this exposed Orc Ballista crew. Yeah, this was very aggressive. I'm not sure why it was pushed so far, and Josh was very quick to punish it, lending out a hand. I'm going to zip over back to the Linden side to see what Langoh is up to.
A little bit more merciful.
Okay, so
But yeah, we can see the continued play of trying to cut his archers down, because if I get to kill his archers, I'm fairly sure I can beat his infantry by just surrounding it and grinding down.
Look at the arrow. These guys do have shields, so they can take a little bit of punishment. And you could just see the archers getting thrown up into the middle of the air. And it was quite a good charge. You can see the damage it's done. Really, he's being punished. He's been a little bit too reckless with his archer placement. He didn't support them very well. I think that, as I said before the battle started, I think the lack of cavalry is going to come into the play, because I think Langoh is just so much more mobile. He can afford to have a cav unit break, because they might come back. So there is 11 of them that has broken.
Well, it break, I can move that one around.
Exactly. And there is a little bit of a zone going on here. And we also see the Realm of Ladris Eclipse sort of fighting back, although it is a broken cavalry unit now. I'm just going to zip over here because I can see on the mini-map there's a cav charge of some sort, and I think, yes, the Dalian cavalry have routed, but they did seem to punish the veterans of Gileath quite heavily, considering it's quite a small unit to start with, and we just have lots of archer fire going on. Seems like it's fairly skirmish heavy, and I'm relatively surprised that Second Pink hasn't chosen to sort of be slightly more aggressive, especially since his ballista has been taken out, so he's kind of lost that artillery advantage. But I think this will play to the Thorn, Second Pink's and Langoh's favour, as the fight on the far right hand flank is going so well for Langoh.
Yeah, basically I'm just, with time I will be able to grind, because I have already successfully removed like half of 2/3 of his archer force, while I still have my Lothlorien archers, which sure I only have 2 of them, but they are very heavily armored. I think 9 armor of them. They are one of the higher tier archers here, so they'll manage to survive the onslaught as I continue to shoot downward against better targets.
Yeah, no, and we do see the percentages only just now going 14% to the allies killed and 13% to enemies. So it is in fact a very close battle at this point of time, numbers wise. We can't speak too much to the quality, although a lot of, I think most of that 13-14% is going to be some archers and some cavs that have just been the damage from the skirmishers.
And I also I want to point out here quickly, because I don't want you to miss it, but my ballista has been brought forward, and if you take a look, they have a nice juicy target that's on this Imladris sentries.
So you're trying to take out the pikes, and we do see the first. That is a very good angle as well, and my friends, this is why we have, who was it on the Dictar? Yeah, Dictar on the far right. This is why he started off in loose formation, because you can punish very, very, very harshly for leaving
for
guys
kind
in close pike formation.
small mistakes that could be very deadly in the end.
So we see in 2 volleys 30 of the high tier and larger sentries have died. I think these guys are about 1,200 in cost. I'm not 100% sure as to if the price has changed, but I think that's the sort of ballpark that we're talking in.
It's high. That's
I
all we
mean,
can
yeah,
assume.
it's 100% over 1,000. So these guys, and I'm not sure about this positioning. So he seems to be moving and stacking his units. Okay, so no, he's just facing dead on to the blister now.
Yeah.
So
We
only
are
2 or 3 would die.
Mordo's charge. He's about to push forward in full force.
Okay, so we just zipped over to Mordor's side, second pink. We do have the Wardens of Harlingen peppering this Orc line. The Morannon infantry is just going to try and swamp them in numbers. They aren't too great. I think they're like 550 in cost, but they do have shields, so they can actually take a lot of this sort of damage, and who cares if a few orcs sort of die. And bad micro on Dictar's side from allowing his cav to sort of be engaged. We do have the halberds picking up the rear guard line, and the earls are looking to sort of try and punish. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this down to 0.8 just so we can get a little bit more bang for our buck. The missile cav has pulled back, and I think Mordor's just going to press forward. Pure weight of numbers, and now he's got the halberds backing up his lines.
Yeah. I kind of want to point out here that even though appraising of his loose formation, such, it seems that he did Lyndon. He did manage to, sadly, once you go back from loose formation, you don't hold the same range in your lines. So it has kind of happened that his line is cracked. It's not cracked, but it's isolated. Instead of having like a full line with pikes and infantry behind it, right now it's more like isolated fighting areas, and more thrives on surrounding it.
Yeah.
So if second pink can really capitalize and push through, that would be deadly.
I think what he's doing is, and this is what I tend to do as well, he's picked a single point in his line, and he's committed a couple of units of trolls, in this case mounted trolls and the Olog High. He will break this, and he will pour through this gap if it is left unplugged, but I think we are going to see the Blade Masters and some of these high-tier Linden troops coming in to fill the gap. We have Dale as well, who's trying to offer support, and this is looking a little bit precarious for Mordor at the minute. The support from the Earls of Esgaroth is beating back these Orc archers and Morannon infantry, and we have the Earls of Dale, which are going to be cycle charging soon, I believe. And what were you going to say, Langoh?
Yeah, Mordor finds us isolated, and it's a little bit shame because if Forna would have been more aware, not this with him. He's very much in his own busy fighting against Dale, not winning God. But if you could have sent his Pinef Gallian cavalry and assisted Mordor, he would have found several targets already.
Yeah.
And maybe even bought some time, briefing room for them.
See, as Mordor and as a lot of these sort of rush factions, the best way to sort of play is to not actually try and kill, but to try and break. So by having the support of that other cavalry, it would have allowed him to potentially encircle a little bit more effectively without being harassed. And we have
that's beautiful. Straight into the nostrils. But
and then we have a general down. Revenge is served. These horse lords have been punishing the troll drummers. They're very susceptible to cavalry charges. These orc archers are going to get harassed, but they're so cheap, no one really cares if they die. The temple guard and troll drummers are back, and we have the Melkor's Chosen that is just providing the zoning power of Mordor. Zipping over, we still have the artillery barrage from Langoh into these lines.
I managed to prove the the usefulness of bringing a ballista if you know that you're going to shoot in a long skirmish phase.
Apart from when Second Pink decides to leave
Yeah.
it out miles in front of his battle line. The skirmish
Still.
battle in the middle seems to be drawn to a close. I think most of the archers have either died,
Yeah.
spent their ammo, or are holding on to it. So we do
Exactly
see
that.
Thorn push forward in a nice
With-
sort of battle line. He's maintaining his position. He actually has got the Honor Guard, Citadel Guard, and the Vanguard on the left-hand side flank with some spearmen. And I think he's just doing this just to cover the flank because he's unsure of how the Second Pink army is going to go. I think the way that Imladris is positioned, I think he's relatively aware that he's not going to get flanked from the right, and if it's from anywhere, it's going to be from the left. And as Gondor is advancing, we see a coordinated attack. Yeah, coordinated attack from Linden. I'm just going to zoom in. Some nice ballista shots just to loosen up some of the ranks of the Elder Enway, and we have the clash of the battle lines that we have here.
Indeed.
Nice. Tasty charge. And let it begin.
Yeah. If you notice though, as I said, I am avoided in sentries like the plague.
Yes.
As light as elves are, there's no way I'm going to go through there. So I'm focusing down his Elder Rinve, his spearman, my apology, and his right side to like try and squish through.
Okay.
And on the same time, I have managed to move all my Sylvan Rangers all the way over. And they're about to do some serious work over there. If you take a look at where their point
this is taking advantage of the body piercing, and it is targeting the whole line of Imladris sentries. So yes, positioning is important for archers, but if that unit has body piercing, it becomes even more so, because the kills that you can rack up are ridiculous. I've seen rangers with 800 plus kills before, a single unit. When utilised properly, these guys hurt. And so this is pretty good play from Langoh. I'm just going to zoom across to... actually going to see what Mordor is saying, and it's not looking good. I think with the assistance of Dale, the Mordor threat has been quickly silenced. And I think now it's almost a race against time. How quickly can Langoh defeat and get around sort of Imladris, and how quickly Thorn can engage and kill Josh. At this point of time, it is against the clock, really. And on the left-hand side of Gondor's line, we have what was the shielded Fountain Guard, but is now the Nim Lothlian Honor Guard, taking on the oh my god, so many names. Taking on the Elven Pikes of Dale. There we go. Some dubious micro, and obviously the paladins are going to make short work of the garrison troops, especially since they are archers. And we have some Gondor infantry taking on the Earls of Esgaroth. Again, not a good matchup for Gondor, but they're going to be quickly supported by the Citadel Guard and the Pillithgalen cavalry. So I'm not too worried about the left-hand side flank just yet before Linden gets over.
Yeah. But it is, because on my side, it started to crumble, and at this point, having been able to deal with the cavalry, I just go for the cavalry right as face point value. Just try for, even with this skirmish line on my body piercing, the Imladris sentries are still alive and giving their pain.
Yeah.
And it's quite brutal. And another interesting fact, what I was talking about before, if you go to the Imladris Blade Masters and Sindar Blade Masters, I have sent 2 Sindar Blade Masters, and I kind of realized I'm bunching them up a little bit, so I'll fix that soon enough. But they still manage to deal quite the damage, the Blade Masters, in melee against disparate people, and that impressed me quite a lot.
It's nice. I'm just going to put this back to 1 speed, but it's nice to see active modders on the game who are willing to spend the time to sort of readdress what's not working with the game, to give it visual upgrades, things like that. It's nice to see how units sort of change. It keeps the game fresh, and it just sort of lends itself to being like, ooh, some friendly fire there. And
Yeah.
it's just like a community, and that's what I kind of like about it. Some dubious ballista shots from Langoh.
Yeah, I even broke the Mokanki bows. It was a gamble, but I stopped in the end. It was they did enough. They got some serious good shots in the start, and then it changed.
Okay, yeah. So on this right-hand side flank, with the assistance of the Careless Ballista, we do see Thorn manage to break this right flank, and pretty much we're going to have some high-tier Gondor infantry be able to loop round, and I think Thorn is going to see the best out of Dale, and I think at this point of time it's not looking good. But we, of course, have Linden on their way. We have some javelins coming in to support some of these cav engagements against Dale, and this is hopefully going to free up some manoeuvrability in which to answer some of the horse archers and horse lords of Linden.
Yeah. We can see that the Gandalf's retinue. There was Mordus a general dying.
Yes.
Was in the Nazgul group, as we decided before.
Yes. Yeah, no, he's yeah, I'm pretty sure the Nazgul killed a general earlier, so you know he managed to get some good use from it, especially since it lasted that long, considering how decisively Mordor got beat. For the general unit to still be alive at this point of time is relatively impressive. So maybe I've just been underestimating them and how hard they are to sort.
Seriously scary, but
yeah.
Sadly sent them against pikes, so they survived a long time, but they didn't do much damage, I think.
We do have the Edel Tirith sort of lending some support on Langoh's left-hand side flank, just trying to chip away. And I think that is in fact the general of Eclipse, who was situated round about here in the Imladris sentries. And I think heavy losses from Langoh, but I think at this stage it's looking very much in his favour. And this is what Thorn needs right now. He's kind of holding back some of these troops on the hill, sort of waiting for Langoh to form up, and they're just going to redraw the battle line. And at this stage, it's going to be a few Dale troops and some sort of Linden support, which is the main sort of army.
Say that at this point, both me and Dale and the Gondor is very hurted, very buckled up in the fighting, while Linden is fairly fresh. So it's really about, for us, if we can pull this back, I would say, is if we can utilize the fact that we are the only ones with cavalry left. We have the Gandalf Returning Bodyguard, and we have my Galadriel, which is very deadly in charge as well. As well as the Sylvan Rangers that at the moment get some nice butt shots.
Yeah. And if we look at the percentages, it's 80 to 79, and it's only just gone up to 80. So it's been 15,000 frames of pretty much constant action, and for it to be this close is, it makes for an exciting battle. There are some small pockets of fighting that are just about finishing. They just see them cheering there, and they were the Fountain Guard, the Honor Guard now, and we have some Pelagron Marines that have been caught out, and these are, I think, just sort of holding back the tides. We have the first troops of Langoh helping the extended fight, and these guys are going to be some Sylvan Rangers out of ammo, and I think these guys are just going to almost be sacrificial, just sort of while the line is being bolstered, they're just going to hold against these pikes and some of these Delian Royal Guard. Going to take a beating, but you know, it's just buying time to get that battle line established, and we have some of the higher tier troops of Langoh now rushing over to go help Thorn.
Indeed. We can see as Linden gets closer, how both my cavalry units taking pot shots, but also kind of retinue bodyguard getting a nice charge off into the very important Noldorian guards.
Yes.
And that is what we have to do to be able to hold the line, because inside of infantry elites, they definitely hold it better.
And
with Linden's Blade Masters, Noldorian, and all kind of scary stuff.
Like, this is a terror, although it's small, this blob is terrifying. There are some high tier scary units in here, and the Noldorian guards.
Rangers and spearmen.
Yeah. What's really, I mean, the Noldorian guard, very, very high tier. They did have 80 originally, so, you know, 20 from one cav charge. That kind of speaks to the power of cavalry, and they do loop around and they do charge the Mithlon Swordmasters as well on the way out. I don't see Gandalf, so I think he has unfortunately fallen. Rip, but he will be remembered. And I think, I mean, I've said this before, but I really wish there was the highlight troops button, so I can see in greater detail what's going on. But most of the fighting is along here, and there is just...
We could zoom in on the map, by the way. And that's kind of
too far
given as well.
Yeah, I think this is... Ooh, I think this is some routing units. No, there is some wardens sort of harassing the Edeltirith. I'm not sure if this is... I know it's a small group of cav, but, you know...
Every little helps.
Every little helps. Exactly. We do have Langoh's general here, just continually firing pot shots into the lightly armoured backs of Linden. Got a nice little infantry charge here.
Yeah, but the Floran archers and the staff masters against infantry and the sword masters, it's not going to be a pretty sight.
And we actually see the Merenki pikes sort of push through with the assistance of the guard, who are now only 34. So these guys have been punished quite harsh, but they are going to be able to sort of assist the Harlingen infantry on this right-hand side flank. We have another charge coming in from Gandalf's retinue bodyguard on the left-hand side flank, and these guys are already shaken, so I wouldn't be surprised if they break shortly. There we go, and they have indeed broken, and that's going to free up all of these units now to sort of loop around. I think at this point of time, I'm going to call it for Thorn, Second Pink, and Langoh. It's going to take some ballsy play, some outstanding play, I think, from Dictar at this point, with what he has to sort of come through. He does have some infantry still in the back, and some blade masters, and of course some Linden pikes. So it's not quite over yet, but I think the way Thorn has been playing the Gandalf retinue bodyguard has actually changed the sway of the battle at this late stage.
Oh yeah, the two cavalry force, cavalry, the Galadriels and the Gandalf retinue, they're both certainly charging, and I think that they are got some serious key charges off here. Yeah, like just that one there.
Yeah,
devastating some very high damage skill. Low armored units that's going to survive for a long time.
Yeah, these guys are scary. And we do see a nice little kick, a nice little roundhouse kick to finish the general. He just got jet lead. So rip, and if to be fair, if there's any way to go general wise in this game, it's got to be getting roundhouse kicked by an elf.
That is the ultimate insult.
just get roundhouse kicked, man. And we do have another cycle charge coming in now as well. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna pop this to ×2 for the last 1,000 frames, because I think this is just clean up crew in a minute. We'll just see some of these last pockets of fighting. I wonder. Let's see if your general's still there, looking pretty. There's nice little red cape. And yeah, 2 pockets of fighting left. I think this is GG. So thank you guys for tuning in. It's been fun. It's been fun. I'm just gonna see the get some cinematic shots now of some Temple Guard just firing down. Out of ammo, swords drawn. Going in for the kill. Linden are quite tough. They are quite tough enemy to face. I really don't like playing against pike lines or pike heavy factions with my typical sort of Mordor. It makes for very hard going. And I suppose it's just a good faction to pick against rush factions. But we do see the end of the video. It was a victory for Langoh, Second Peak and Thorn. Well played to everyone in this battle. Having a quick look at the kills, we do see Linden coming through with 2,500 kills, especially considering that they're on the losing side. To still get the top amount of kills, pretty good. Again, thank you to Langoh for sending in this replay, and we're just going to have a quick look at the stats before we pop off. So we see the Galadrim. In fact, do you want to talk through the stats, Langoh, just to wrap up the video?
I can get the honor, thank you. I think we can see the Galadrim riders getting 250 kills. It's pretty impressive considering in the end most of that is charge. We can see that the Silver Rangers 240 kills, and beyond that we get the Silver Spearmen. The units that stand against the pike line clearly did not end that well.
No, they did not. Also, I think it's no small feat to get almost 200 kills apiece for your cavalry. These were mostly the low tier archers at the beginning of the game, I would assume. A large chunk of them.
Elven archers.
Yes. So again, taking out those archers early, it made all of the money that they sunk into them completely pointless. And you just take them off early, so there's just no real damage output. And because his archers that he sunk so much money into were taken out so quickly, then he really struggled with the size of his line. I think it could have been very different if he had 1 or 2 units more of some high tier infantry, potentially some more Elder Enway. Just because Langoh, although he did win, he was hurt. He was hurt from it. So, but yeah, I think it's been a fun battle to watch, and the final sort of percentages were 97 to 81. Really?
That's because prisoners and such are released.
I was about to say. I swear it was a lot closer than
because it
that.
was 89 to 90 before last time I checked. It was in between 2%. I can promise you all that.
Yeah, no, I was about to say it seemed a lot closer than that.
Oh yeah.
And if you look at the men remaining out of 2,000, roughly 2,000 to 3,000 for everyone, barely 1,000 troops from the Allies made it out. But I think on that note, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Make sure you stay tuned for more Third Age replays coming soon. And again, a big thanks for Langoh for coming on and helping me out with this video.
Pleasure.
All right, thank you, guys.